This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, it is 6 p.m. I will now call to order the November 10th meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. This meeting is being recorded. This meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission will be conducted in person and simultaneously via remote participation online to the greatest extent possible. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on the City of Easthampton website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Should an interruption occur in which the online meeting ends abruptly, both the in-person and online meetings will not be restarted, and all agenda items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to our first public hearing, which is a request for determination of applicability for Parsons Ferry Street roadwork filed by VHB on behalf of the City of Easthampton, map 135, lots 165 to 170 for replacement paving and construction of a new sidewalk. We have someone here to speak to this item?
Yes, just for the record, Scott Morrison from VHB. May I share my screen? Is it possible for the folks in person to see that?
You should be all set, Scott.
There we go. Can everybody see this? Thank you. So just for the record, I'm Scott Morrison, Senior Environmental Scientist at VHB. Here with us tonight is Diane Rosini Smith, a representative from Easthampton, and then Peter Barazzi from my office, the Senior Project Engineer. So we filed a request for determination of applicability for a roadway repaving job with a additional sidewalk or multi-use path that will run along the roadway. It will be constructed from Emerald Place along Ferry Street out to the intersection of Parsons Street and reconstruct the intersections there. Wetland resource areas associated with this project consists of Lower Mill Pond. So we've got the bank of the pond here. This is the 100-foot buffer zone in red here. We've also got where the pond overflows the dam, we've got Broad Brook, which flows underneath the roadway and kind of flows to the north. So we've got the 200-foot riverfront area that extends out this way, out to this point. So this is the real focus of the request for determination of applicability. There are exemptions in 310-1002 2B1 that grandfathers pavement repair and resurfacing and reclamation projects. So we've added that to the request for determination of applicability application. However, some minor aspects aren't included, which would include this portion of the sidewalk within the 100-foot buffer zone. So we're proposing that under this request for determination of applicability. As far as erosion controls, we're proposing some minor work to the existing sidewalk here. So we've got erosion controls placed in between that work area and the resource area itself. And then also more importantly, we're proposing silt socks within existing catch basins. So we've got existing catch basins in the vicinity here and further up the road. So we'll install those silt sacks to prevent anything from getting into that storm drain system and then discharge to Lower Mill Pond or the down gradient stream. As far as erosion controls, we're proposing a compost sock for erosion control. And then once construction's complete, areas that are outside the roadway will be loamed and seeded and permanently stabilized. The other thing I didn't mention was there's bordering land subject to flooding. It's located here. There's no work within bordering land subject to flooding. So it's either the exempt activity or this minor work here within the 100-foot buffer zone. So based upon that, we're requesting that the commission issue a negative determination of applicability to allow this project to proceed as designed. And I'd be happy to answer questions if the commission has any.
Questions from the commission?
Both of the drawing seems pretty routine and straightforward to me.
I think even the area where they're adding sidewalk is, this is existing lawn in the buffer zone, so I don't have any concerns. All right. Anything from you, Ava?
No, it all looked in order. Yeah, it's a funky circumstance where the riverfront area ends like at the edge of the street. So the riverfront area doesn't actually go on to the new sidewalk construction. So it's not, the request isn't even, all the work within the riverfront area is fully exempt under the act. And the buffer zone work is the work that's the commission's being asked for here. Routine and relatively far from the resource area.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't really matter because this is an RDA, but does this overlap with any open NOIs for the various things happening? I guess.
Because of Ferry Street NOIs or the.
Yeah, either
Or
or.
the Emerald Place NOI.
Right,
Okay, the other road work.
I think it would be adjacent, but not over. Maybe I think the idea is for the sidewalks to tie together from one project to the other, right?
That's correct.
But you're right that as an RDA, it wouldn't really be directly relevant.
Yep.
Right, so I think we would be looking for.
You don't have any conditions, right? Other than standard conditions.
Yeah, so I think we would be looking at a negative determination type 3 that the work described in the request is within buffer zone, but will not alter an area subject to jurisdiction under the act, therefore does not require the filing of a notice of intent subject to the following conditions. 48-hour pre-construction notification, erosion controls as described. Anything else we want to include? I think that would be it.
That's probably it.
Yep. Great. I'll make a motion to issue negative determination type 3 with the conditions discussed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, commissioners.
Screw it up.
I think you got my file. Oh.
I know, really. That's all.
Cool. Great, thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have no requests for certificates of compliance this evening. Do we have anything to discuss under enforcement actions?
I have no enforcement action.
All right. Moving on then to open space updates. Anything on Echo Dale?
The only update I have on Echo Dale is that Jay is going to do a winter season mow for us, and I've asked Chris Politan to provide an update on the status of invasives treatment there.
Okay.
I have not yet received an invoice from him for this season. I'm hoping that we can finish out our contract with him and get things wrapped up there and figure out what our next steps are.
Yeah.
What's the, so go ahead.
Yeah, I know that he did at least one treatment on the site this year. He's remained somewhat challenging to get a hold of and have active updates with.
That was the problem in the past with him, right?
Yes.
Communication.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that there was like only a few tasks left on his contract regarding treatments. I think he was going to do 2 more this year. I'm not sure if both happened or if only one did. And then once we finish that out, we can do an assessment of what comes next there. Yeah.
Okay.
And if more invasive treatments are needed, or if we've reached a satisfactory place with it.
Sounds good. All right, moving on to the Borkowski parcel.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that we have a couple folks here to speak to that tonight. I guess I'll just update. I'll provide sort of the overview of where we are now. The backstory is that about a year ago at this point, we were approached about improving the trail network at Borkowski parcel. And we reached out to Natural Heritage over at the state level to try to get some background on their concerns as this parcel is mapped. This region of the side of Mount Tom is mapped as priority habitat for several species, rare, endangered, and species of special concern. And we have attempted to engage with them early in the process, and I think they are just over full of applications. And so we have not received any assistance from the state on how they ideally would like us to proceed with a trail improvement project here. So the plan is, if the commission would like to take this path, or a possible plan that I see is that we submit a trail proposal to Natural Heritage and then we engage with the process then. So I guess I'll just really lay out there that what we submit to Natural Heritage really may not be the final version of where we end up. There may be, additional conditions, additional ideas that they have to lower the impact on the species of concern on this parcel.
Mm-hmm.
So we asked New England Mountain Bike Association to sketch out a possible climbing trail. New England Mountain Bike Association has indicated that a better climbing trail is something that this parcel really lacks for increased access and just for like a better riding experience.
Yeah.
The existing climbing trails are somewhat eroded and challenging. This gives you a sense of just the climbing trail. So this is the climbing trail they flagged out, that New England Mountain Bike Association flagged out on the parcel. It is 1.1 miles. And I think most importantly, or one of the more important things for the commission, is that it fully stays on our land.
Okay.
One of the more other challenging things about this property is that there's several non-city owned or city easement properties in this region. So if we go back to this one, I have the non-city parcels as these polygons here.
And Ava, real quick, before we go further, this is the meeting that we reached out to all the folks who had expressed interest and invited them that we would be talking about this tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just a little surprised that we don't have more folks here, but
Yeah.
to clarify
More
that.
people came out for the
That's
e-bike
important.
thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. Yeah. I sent. We've had those flyers posted at Borkowski Parcel now for several months.
They're still there. Too.
They're still there. Yeah. I see them when I'm out there. Yeah. I have an email list of about 20 names and emails, and they all received information about this meeting about 10 days ago.
Okay. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah, so these parcels that the city does not own are here are here as polygons. And the existing trails, though you can't see them on this map, you can see them a little better. On this map, the existing trails crisscross the private parcels. So if the city's going to build a new trail out here, a different trail, it needs to be on our property.
Right.
And so New England Mountain Bike Association sketched this trail out. Before we proceed, do you want to say anything more about the trail or? Yeah.
Well, one thing about the current trail. Oh, sorry. Scott Smith. I live in Easthampton, part of NEMBA, or the VP of NEMBA's this chapter. But yeah, one thing to note about the current system is really the only good or the only usable mountain bike climbing trail to get to the top of this ridge, I guess, or the side hill. It does go through that polygon that Ava has. If you go back one screen, it'll show it. But it's this trail right here is the only real way to get to the top. And then you come back over. So it crosses a property that NEMBA doesn't have any contact with them, those owners. We've tried, but it's so hard to figure out who they are really. And if we did figure it out, they don't respond to us. So either way. So yeah, that's really what we're doing now. And yeah, so it's working, but you're like fingers crossed. Like if they go out there and get really mad, that wouldn't be good. So
I don't know if the city's attempted to make contact with these property owners as well, and is still interested in making contact and discussing that parcel with them.
And which is the parcel that just sold?
Is this parcel
that
up
one?
here? Yep. Yeah. So that parcel was just purchased. It was just in the newspaper. It's public information now by Frank DeMarinis as part of the log cabin. I will say just that the city we did pursue a discussion of a purchase with the landowner, and she was not interested ultimately in working with the city on that purchase.
We're too slow.
Which is unfortunate. She gave us 1 week.
Yeah, it was very quick.
We moved quite quickly. Kestrel was ready to assist. There was a lot of forces in motion. Do you want to say anything more about the climbing trail, about the folks who designed it, the proposed one?
okay, yeah. So the other thing is we did it with ourselves, NEMBA, but we're really lucky to have a team member named Walker Metcalf, and he actually owns a trail building company. But he just donated his time to hike with us, part of NEMBA, to help us flag that. So it's not just me or some guys and girls walking in the woods thinking looks like a good idea. Cause I'm not really that good at trail building, but they actually had, I forgot the name of the tool. I think it's like an inclinometer. Do you remember what it's called?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
So they actually mapped this using best practices for trail building, for mountain biking, and all users. Like it's, if people want to hike it, it's going to be fine too. But yeah, that's what we came up with for the climbing trail to get up to the top. Yeah.
Can you show on the other map where this trail would be?
Yeah, so
Approximately.
it's the one in yellow here.
Okay.
Up there.
Yeah. So it does overlap. It starts off of this trail, this one right here in red, and then it does overlap with a couple like existing trails a little bit. Really, just this one right here. Or no, maybe just
Is that the double track?
Yeah, a lot of those are double.
Some of these are like
A lot of those
double tracks.
Right. Right. I walked oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I will say one thing is like just talking about that too, the double track stuff. This trail is never used. So I wasn't specific enough with them because I wasn't able to hike that day to plan it out, but it should probably connect down further down here. Or maybe people will start to use this more, but that's just a fire road or a double track that no one really uses right now. So, maybe we would look into adjusting the hair, but yeah.
What's the elevation gain over the length of the proposed trail?
It's pretty good. I don't know it exactly off the top of my head, but it's a few hundred feet.
You're probably close to 4 or 5.
400 or 500 feet. Definitely from the bottom, like where the Broadbrook is to the top is probably all 500 feet. To where our trail that we flagged starts, that might be 400. So you still have a little bit to go down to the brook from there. Yeah.
Has there been any conversation yet about what trails we might think about discontinuing as sort of a give and take for cleaning up the system that might help to move things along with natural heritage?
Right. I think that's part of the conversation we were hoping we could have tonight. The conversations I've had with the various consultants that the city worked with several years ago when Jeff Bagg pursued a trail project out here indicated that the species of concern that natural heritage primarily, and we'll speak about it somewhat vaguely for regulatory reasons, but the species of concern both has an active season, but also is a species that the state is concerned about interactions with, that either bikes or hikers would have interactions with an animal species. And so they did indicate the folks I spoke with over at Oxbow, and Steve Liberty was on this project for GCA. There was several folks involved. We have the habitat assessment from the habitat evaluation from 2021 as well. Yep. In our files. And the indication is that, their recommendation is that natural heritage would be more amenable to creation of a new trail if some trails were closed, protecting a habitat core of some sort. I do think what's a little bit challenging in this spot, I guess part of the reason I was hoping we could discuss it, as a commission or as a broader community is I don't think there's necessarily a super obvious choice of what to close. The species is primarily located on Mount Tom, it's safe to say, and so we're not. There's not a connection point that this proposed trail is thinking of cutting. I think our best argument to natural heritage for why it's in alignment with their goals to build a new trail here is that this trail already gets a lot of use. This region, this broader parcel gets a lot of usage. That usage is dispersed throughout the parcel. And we'd like to concentrate it so that we can close down some trails so that they just never get ridden and that they have a chance to regrow and and consolidate usage into one location.
There's a heavier yellow line on the diagram.
Yeah.
And is that all pertinent to what we're discussing?
I went back out and traced that one. I didn't change its color, but I went back out and traced it. That's a trail that has some jump features. That could be an option for a closure. There's a lot of trails right kind of in this nest. I'm not sure what makes the stronger argument though. And I'm not sure what the mountain bike community and the hiking community is willing to lose.
And I think some of these that are represented on here are more of like fire roads.
Right.
And those don't really get a ton of use. So I mean, if those could be, since they really don't get much use, you could close those off pretty easily without having any impact, and it would make this map look very different, probably.
Right.
Yeah,
It wouldn't look so concentrated.
Yeah, I would say trail users, like a lot of these, just like Salem just said, a lot of these aren't open. Like I know that one you're touching right there, that for a fact is not open.
Right.
That was microburst damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Though it is passable at this point. Like you can get through this trail at this point.
Yeah.
So this trails in an attempt to make a complete trail map of the parcel, I hiked all of these trails. So all these trails are like on the ground,
Yeah.
GPX.
I think the mayor should come out and help with that.
So is that coming out on 141? Where's 141?
Yeah. It used to cross and do this trail that the mountain biker,
the Christopher Clark Trail.
Yeah, we call it roller coaster.
Roller coaster. Trail, but that's gone.
Yeah. I never rode in there, obviously, but
yeah, no.
No,
Nobody did, but it was called roller coaster.
So I think that would be a good next step is I think it's helpful if we're able to present, I think it would be helpful if we're able to present this really messy map showing lots of trails, but then identify the ones that we want to formally close down in lieu of the one that we want to build in replacement. Even if those trails aren't heavily used right now, I think if we can show like this has been a historic trail, it has been used, and we're going to naturalize that one. I think that will help to make our case. So I think it would be helpful. This information sounds like largely already exists in terms of the mountain biking community. It'd be helpful to get that on paper. And then I don't know who might be best to weigh in on more of the hiking uses. To find out that may be a question we need to put back to the folks we were hoping would show up tonight, to understand which ones other folks are using, so that we can kind of pull all of that information together and start to.
I would say probably anecdotally, the hikers are generally using the trails that are established, that the mountain bikers are using too,
Yeah.
just because those are the established ones that aren't fully covered in leaves and are easy to navigate. Some of these fire roads, or maybe they were quarry roads, logging roads, they're pretty stick laden and probably don't get too much traffic, I would say.
Do we have any idea if the fire department needs any of those to exist? That would be a good thing to check on as well.
Do that.
Yeah, somebody brought it up. I can't remember if it was in one of these meetings or just out talking to people, but one thing that was brought up was like the brush fire potential for that microburst area, because that whole section of hill, like above where we want to build that climbing trail, that's all the heavy microburst area, and it's all just like a matchbook now because of all the deadfall stuff. I mean, I don't know what the answer is to that stuff, but it'd be pretty. If something lit up in there, it'd probably be.
I don't even know where the access point would be, honestly.
Water
To get
department,
vehicle.
probably?
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to get a vehicle in there.
Right.
All those roads are, because I think the access to those fire roads was mostly through people's property there where there's houses now.
Right.
There might be one across from Mayor Mike's house, because I feel like people were going up in there and doing some logging after the microburst. They got in trouble for it. So I think there is one entrance there.
Okay.
Kind of speaking more to that too, I think that's why, honestly, it's not a very big area or very popular area for hiking, because there's a lack of parking. And I know we've talked about parking here before, but from what I've seen is it's way more heavily used by the mountain bikers, because we can park further away and ride there and do a nice loop and then ride back. The only time I ever see hikers in there is if they live on Hendrick Street.
Right.
And so there's obviously a lot of people that live there, but it's nothing compared to like a bigger or a system with a big parking lot. You're going to get a lot more people that show up. So
I think there was a discussion about parking at one of our previous meetings, and I was told by an abutter that she's been pleased to see more people riding in, less people parking close. So I don't know if you've had any influence in that, but the neighbors have been pleased to experience that. Okay, so I'll certainly check with the fire department to see if they need any of the fire roads for any kind of access point. I think can we look at the trail forks of this area?
Trail Forks actually doesn't have a lot on it.
Like a Strava heat map, maybe.
Yeah,
Sure.
Heat map would probably be really good.
Okay.
Yeah, Trail Forks, as we can see. I mean, this is probably good for what people actually use.
Right.
So as you can see, if you were going to present this to the Natural Heritage, it looks way cleaner than the first map. So
Right. I'm certainly seeing this, and obviously, again, some of this Broadbrook Loop is on private parcels, so we're just not going to address those pieces of it. But the sections of it that are on our property, probably we want to keep open for their widespread usage.
And is that the primary downhill path that folks are using?
The loop starting at Hendrick Street goes counterclockwise, and so those two would be the downhills. Okay. Yeah, the up is down lower, but those are the two main downhills or ways to get down. And the the one in the highlighted loop is more of like a blue square trail, and then that black line is more of a black diamond trail.
Okay.
So there's about 2 ways to get down. You can go, have a little easier or a little harder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So arguably, even though a lot of the existing climbing route is on the private parcel, we would be sort of taking this long spread out system and shrinking the primary up and down into a much more condensed area, right?
Yeah, it would be a little more direct to the top, just to, again, we're not like sold, or we're not we're not nailed down to that trail we hiked either. Like, we could, with your direction or whatever you guys want to see, we can have it do something different or make more use of the area.
Yeah, I think the condensing things a bit, I think, is going to help our case with natural heritage. So I think that's probably a positive to be able to show. And if you all felt that was a good trail and would be a well-designed, useful route, you're going to know that better than we are.
That's right.
Yeah. Cool.
Are there any rock outcrops or sunny spots or boulder areas on the parcel?
There's actually some cool. Remember when we hiked the old like Broadbrook Loop or something? There's a cool outlook up
Right
here.
underneath the log cabin parking lot.
Yeah, it's that's the parking lot, but like over here, this is the old trail right here. Like, actually over here more. There's like
It's an
it could be a cool.
It's an old quarry.
Yeah.
So there's probably a 30-foot cliff that has like a cool little lookout. And then it's you can see where they dragged the stones down, so it created like almost like a gully
Right.
going up to the cliff.
But that's where the microburst area is too.
Yeah, that was heavily microburst.
That's over there.
So it's hard to get to that one.
And I know where Dan's going with this. We're thinking about habitat areas that might be applicable to natural heritage that we could have not part of the trail network. So I like that one is in an area that we're
It's not really.
discontinuing.
Yeah,
far.
where, I should document that as probably as part of the application. It's over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this the old trail, right? Because
Uh-huh.
it goes up, so,
That's the
So
one that goes to the water department.
right, so it was like,
Then it goes up.
yeah, so this is, so it's like a little gully that comes right off this trail.
Okay.
So it's probably right about here.
The only ones I've ever seen people use are the log cabin entrance because there's parking there, and then down at, was it Bernie now?
Is it after, Mr. Mayor, is it after the crushed stream crossing?
Yeah, it's right after that.
Okay,
Yep.
closer to the water department.
No, I'm sorry, going the other way.
Okay.
And then it's just like up.
Yeah, it's off to the left. So if you're coming from the water department,
Mhm.
because that purple area is, it's
Private.
posted.
Yep.
And so once you get over the little broken bridge there, it should be right to your left.
And what's the habitat like in the area of the proposed trail? I'm assuming that's primarily forested now.
Yeah, it is steep though, so that's why you see there's a lot of switchbacks. So
Yep.
it's steep. I wouldn't say rocky outcropping too much, but definitely rocky hillside, I guess you would
Mhm.
call it.
It would be primarily mountain laurel.
It's a lot of mountain laurel.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of mountain laurel. There's some evidence of the microburst, some down trees,
Mhm.
a lot of beech, a lot of chestnut. There's a lot of little chestnut in here. Oak.
There's
Yeah.
lots of oak leaves.
Yeah, a lot of oak
Very
leaves.
slippery.
Pine. There's quite a bit of pine and quite a bit of hemlock with a lot of woolly adelgid in this chunk of forest.
Yeah.
I did walk the flag trail if we want to just quickly look through it.
We've got some photos.
Yeah.
Right.
Beginning. I'll also note that we should do some repairs on our bridge the downed railing. That's one of the stream crossings that at some point we'd like to put a little bridge in too. But here's where it starts.
Where is this for
Yeah.
the map?
So we are
The
right,
beginning of the yellow trail.
right here.
Okay.
I'd be happy to walk this with any commissioner too that want to go out there. You're gonna see, it's gonna be a lot of, images of a flag in the distance. Hope you can see.
Bushwhacking, yeah.
It's good just to get a sense of what the vegetation is like though. And when they were planning the route, what kind of consideration was given to avoiding tree clearing?
Not like live trees. Yeah, we were not gonna get rid of any of those bigger than, I mean, I wasn't walking it, but I just know for a fact that they wouldn't get rid of anything bigger than saplings if needed.
Okay, so they're winding amongst. the
Yeah,
existing trees.
but they will get rid of like that
Yeah.
downs. We'll go through that if we
Yeah.
need to, so.
Okay,
It's gonna be a lot of mountain laurel.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
so mountain, yeah, stuff, yeah.
that's helpful from that perspective, among other things.
A lot of down trees.
Yeah, the down stuff is gonna be. And the goal is to build a single track trail, so we don't need to build anything wider than, I don't know what the measurements are, but it's, if you're all familiar with a single track, probably what, 36
14.
inches, not even, oh yeah, they're real tiny, but
Yeah.
yeah, so.
And what would the construction process look like for this? Are we talking mini excavator, hand tools? What would this look like?
I mean, if we raise the money, definitely mini excavator would be really cool. But we can do it just by hand. So it's really kind of, once we get approval or whatever, cause I think National Heritage would probably have a say in that or something. So, it really is kind of determined by what they say and then how much money we raise for the project if we want to bring in a like machine or anything like that. So.
Yeah, machine built trails are, the end product is going to be a little bit smoother, a little bit wider, a little bit more accessible. And I think when we were looking at this project with Jeff, we had started to look at more hand built trails just because of the impact. But if this passed muster, it would be, and if we were permitted to do machine built trails, that would be probably more accessible for walkers and other users as well.
In our experience too, the maintenance goes down as well as the longevity of the trail too. So when you bring in a mini excavator, you see those trails standing for a lot longer with a lot less trail maintenance. So kind of like looking at both of those too is something good because you could, build a trail by hand and then you might have a lot more maintenance to it, which just requires, a lot more effort from the organizations involved. Whereas the machine built trail, it's pretty solid. It doesn't really take too much maintenance. Yeah.
Could some of the down trees be moved, elsewhere?
Just cut it, move them off to the side.
I don't think any material will leave
Take it out.
Oh,
the site.
Yeah, we would just cut a path through. So yeah.
Just.
Yeah, you block them, so cut them and just into chunks where you're trying to get through and move those chunks out of the way. Yeah.
It would be like a little corridor.
Yeah.
My sense too is just to say, for the commission's sake, that I think the planning department is interested, if this works its way through natural heritage, if we get to a trail design that everyone's in agreement with will not impact the species present. I think the planning department is interested in taking this on as a project.
Okay, great.
Along in partnership with New England Mountain Bike Association.
Excellent. Is there anything else, Ava, from your notes on prior conversations that folks have brought up that we should revisit now that we have an idea of where we'd like the trail to be? Parking was the one that stuck out in my mind.
Right. I think something that struck me from my conversations with folks who worked on this project before was that it seemed as though, particularly given that active season for this species, that the machinery versus hand tools was not the crux of it, but rather just, which I had initially thought was it,
Yeah.
but rather just building new trails,
Ongoing
having
use.
more trails, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think we'll probably propose construction outside of the active season for the species, but then also to say that to make the broader argument about reducing locations where bikes and hikers would come into contact with the species. Yeah, I think an argument, sort of, and just I have a lot of notes here about like we're not trying to add usage to the site, we're trying to relocate usage, consolidate usage.
Well, I think the big thing too to add to it was the road trail building. And
Yes.
so now that we're getting involved as an organization, it's going to self-police a lot more. It's going to cut down on people kind of either going out and building new trails, but also hikers, unfortunately, are more guilty of this is the braiding of trails. So I don't know what it is, but when hikers are on a trail and they're like, I want to get off this trail now, they just cut through the woods and it eventually just forms a trail. So, but that, should be cut down by having like a well-organized system and marked out trails. So, because right now, even that Broadbrook Loop is barely marked. I was actually thinking it would be cool to blaze it, but obviously we can't through the part that's not private property, but yeah.
Right. I think Scott's correct that having a trail map of this system that only shows the trails that the commission wants people on would go a really long way.
Yep.
The other notes I have is that I think really just that we want to make the case that the current status of the trails on this site is not benefiting the species. So that like a change is needed to better consolidate.
Yeah. Did anything else stick out from comments that the public has brought up in the past? We heard a lot about folks wanting to be included and they're not here to speak for themselves. So I'm just trying to remember what, if anything else specific was brought up or just that folks wanted to be in the loop.
I don't have any other notes. I know that parking was a concern.
And I think what triggered that was when I brought up the e-bike thing. And I think people got scared that all of a sudden this was going to be like a destination.
Yeah.
Well, that, but also because I mentioned like technically the only legal area, there's not a lot of approved areas, even though people are riding them everywhere and under the ADA Act, it doesn't matter, you technically could. But I think people got a little worried about that when we were talking about an e-bike or allowing mountain bikes to ride here. So, which it would actually only help with the parking because I just did it before this meeting. I rode from my house on my e-bike to the trails, did a loop, and then rode home. So I didn't drive over there, but
yeah,
anyways, let's give you extra distance.
Yeah, that too.
Does the commission think this argument that the trails currently are chaotic, the jump trail, do we want to address the jump trail as part of this discussion? Like, do we want that to be part of the conversation around rogue trail building? Do we want to just leave it for now?
What's Nemba's thoughts on the jump trail?
The one in B parcel?
Yeah.
We don't have any, like, we didn't build it. We don't know, how it got there, but it's a fun trail. I mean, I can't deny that I don't have fun doing jumps. So it's kind of a gray area. I think I think partnering with the town and partnering with a land manager and then having a jump trail would be awesome. Like something that everybody is okay with having. I think it does really benefit the community of cyclists and also just the community in general having something fun or different. The youth is insane right now. The amount of young kids on bikes, like for example, the NCC Northampton Cycling Club has teams now of 8-year-olds up to 18-year-olds, and there's like 50 or 60 of them that do these mountain bike races, and they're all out in the woods training and riding around together. They look for that stuff, just something to progress their skills and get better. You know, not everyone's into ball sports. Not everyone likes those kinds of activities. They've started to get more into mountain biking, which is so cool. But that jump trail in B parcel, there's nothing really like it around until you go to like Eagle Brook School in Deerfield.
Right.
So I think it's actually a value add, but I want to be, doing everything kind of correctly. So
Do you think it causes more erosion for people to jump? Because
when it's built poorly, yeah, I would agree. It would cause more erosion, but if you built it in best practices, it would not cause any more erosion than a normal trail. Yeah.
I think, does that speak to, to rebuild it or adjust the building of it?
Yeah, it could. I would say a couple of those trails could be rerouted for sure. Like you could work on some corners and work on water management, because some sections of the trail of like that jump trail are built. And again, I'm not a trail builder, so I don't know the technical terms, but like water just runs right down it and causes that little rut. But again, only like a few sections. So like a reroute or like water bars would even help it. So yeah.
They're more impactful trail building than some of the other trails.
But it's also pretty short relative to the
It
other
is.
trails.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
It's very short.
Yeah, short section.
Yeah, it's only about just over a quarter of a mile. The jump trail that I had up in yellow.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would add is, if we could keep them, we could look into making them safer, like a little more safe. Because again, we don't really know who's building these things, but you look at some of them and you're like, okay, we might want to reinforce this. And then some of them are actual gaps. So they've actually done a really good job, I think, with signage, because there's almost all the jumps have little signs that say whether it's a drop or a gap, which is like this. It's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive what they did. But them being gaps, that's the one thing that it is a little more advanced. So like what I'm talking about, like this, I have a lot of fun on this, but someone just getting into it might not have a lot of fun. So what I would
Understatement. I would probably roll up and get my head on those rocks.
And so what I've seen in different areas are, you leave the existing structure here and then you add a little bridge across. And so what's really cool about that is people can progress into it. So, they can go off it at, just the rolling over pace and be totally fine. And then you start going faster and faster, and then you start maybe landing on the dirt. So it's that progression. And that's what was really cool about having a feature like that, because the kids will just progress and get really, really good at mountain biking, which would be cool.
Yeah, you gotta commit to this one.
It's a
You
commitment.
can't really
It definitely
test
is.
the waters.
And I think one of the things about the jump trail is it does offer features that are not readily available on anywhere in this area, other than Deerfield or going to Thunder Mountain. And
Thunder you're paying, so yeah.
Right.
And get there and they pay.
So I think, like the climbing trail is a really great first start. And I know even we've talked about going for other grants for this particular area. And this could be one of those things that could be made better, made safer. But I do think it does appeal to a certain type of rider that is younger. And I say it all the time, but I'd love to see kids not on their phones. And like if we can encourage them to be out in the woods, that's amazing. That being said, this is, conservation property, so I think it could fit into a long range plan.
And then just to piggyback on that too, actually the town, so NEMBA did get approval to put in a jump trail in Hadley at the system called Earl's Trails. I think that's on Hadley town property with the one that they're putting in.
Is it TCR or is it
No,
on?
I think it is
It's on
Hadley.
water property.
Yeah, but they just got, are allowed to do that, and they raised, I think, $25,000 in a day to do the to bring a mini excavator in and build this flow trail. And it's got jumps on it. It won't have wood features, but it's gonna have jumps on it and berms and all this like new school. I like to kind of call it new school stuff. So it's happening in other areas slowly.
Well, in that area, the Earl's Trails is basically the exact same elevation, the exact same. It's like very similar slope, just across the river. It's like the foothills to the Holyoke Range, as this is the foothills to kind of Mount Tom.
So I think because we have the natural heritage complication, I think what we need to do is to have one comprehensive plan. Whether we build it in many phases, I think is a separate issue, but I think we need to go to them with one comprehensive plan to try to get approved. If we go now and we say we want to have fewer trails, we're consolidating, and then we try to go later and add trails, that's not going to be a good look from a natural heritage perspective. So I think the next step, it sounds like, is to look at what can we discontinue, what might be any other additions, like modifying, improving some of these other trails that have been built that maybe were rogue, but we want to formalize. And really just having that comprehensive map of what we'd like this to look like.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the critical next step before we submit anything,
Okay.
if we hope to be successful. And then it may be, as Ava kind of said from the start, it may be that then we're paring back from that because we're negotiating the habitat issues. But I think that's the place to start with our submission.
Okay.
Do you want them like a GPX file, or you just want like something drawn, or like
Of the trails,
of like the new proposal? So like we'll keep this map, and then I'll basically go back to the team and build another, like pretend it's a blank canvas basically, and
Right,
we'll just close everything we don't use and have
So you can
a
see a
more
difference.
organized. Yeah, so you can see a difference.
but
It might be nice to see what it looks like spaghetti now, and then show what you want it to be in the future. And say,
That's it.
everything that's red's gonna be closed.
That's kind of
and-
what I'm thinking.
And the
Yeah.
yellows are gonna be the ones that we're gonna keep.
Yep.
And then National Heritage will have some contrast to look at.
We don't want to close all the red, do we? I mean.
No, I'm just
some of those-
saying there's a
Yeah.
percentage of them.
Probably.
Some of those are pretty well used hiking.
right,
Mhm.
right. And I think we want to leave the pieces of the Broadbrook Loop that are on the city land. We'll just
Yeah.
kind of leave those as threads.
Mhm. And I think wherever existing trails can be reused, I think is a good thing also from the natural heritage perspective.
Gotcha.
Obviously, if it doesn't make sense, if there's a better way to cut through that's going to shorten it and we can naturalize a piece, yes, but anywhere we can overlap with existing, I think that also kind of adds to our case.
All right.
I mean, I wonder, Scott, I'm happy to have you send me something, but I also wonder if I could almost do this already, right? Like what we're looking to keep here is the sections of the Broadbrook Loop that are on the city's land,
Yeah.
and the sections of the trail that's called Han Solo that's on the city's land,
Mhm.
and then the parallel jump trail that's next to it.
Is it as simple though as kind of one route up, one route down? There's
Well,
multiple
well-
routes that people use
Well,
down, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say actually, is so if we're gonna talk to them about, building this new trail and then potentially rerouting the jump trail or Han Solo, we would want to do it in a way where they don't cross paths, because that traffic would probably not be great to have. So that I would ideally, in what we created for this was that climbing trail would be like two-way trail. But I think in the future, and like talking about, bringing in a mini excavator or doing like a cool jump trail and updating that, you wouldn't want them to cross. You'd want one defined uphill trail and then let everything else be two-way or whatever it wanted to be. So we can go back and just kind of tune that and then hike a different version of the downhill trail to create a one up, one down.
So redo these sections of, 'cause this I believe is Han Solo right here.
Yeah, the red
Is
one.
that right?
Yeah.
That then runs parallel, and I think it goes like that.
Actually, yeah. Pretty much.
Okay.
You're in the ballpark.
How do you want, so for the hikers, I can I'll send an email back out to the list of folks I have. Could ask them to, I'm wondering how much this spaghetti of trails, like how much that connects to people's brains of what they hike regularly.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out this whole time we've been sitting here where I hike, and it's really hard for me to tell.
Yeah, right, without any markers.
Well, and some of the parcel markers go over the trails, like the one, like that one, not the pointy one, but the one next to it. Like that one goes right over, I think, a bunch of trails.
Yeah. I
I
did not map the trails that were in the private parcels because I know that we won't include those trails as part of our submission.
I see.
That is probably where you're hiking though, because that's like the way down from the top,
Log cabin.
the blue trail. Like if you go to the Trail Forks map, there's a big part of it in there. Yeah,
Right there.
that section.
I also just wanted, I don't know where else to say this. If it's better for me to submit this comment as like a hiker on your list, or if it's better to do here, but I don't want to in any way put the kibosh on the excitement about the jump trails and use. And at the same time, like I'm part of a private camp and we have golf carts that drive people around. And like when it rains, all of the little orange Fs get totally squished. And so I guess I just think there might be other wildlife besides the endangered ones that could get, when people are going really fast and they're making jumps and they can't see where they're landing, I get worried about what they're going to hit or land on from a wildlife perspective.
I doubt that your wildlife impact is much different, if any different, on a jump trail versus a regular trail.
Less time on the ground.
Yep.
Maybe on the little critters are hiking. Yeah, right? Fair enough. I guess that's just a concern in general.
Yeah, maybe inviting some hikers and having a neighborhood hike for a half a day at some point on a weekend day or something like that. Just getting, like post it, but see if there are particular people we know that like to hike up there and then, just hike and talk about people's feelings about certain trails,
Does Easthampton have a trail counter or anything for? Do you guys use one for another parcel or anything? I was wondering to see, like, you hide it in the woods and see how many people are using the trails, or you don't hide it, but it's like
a wildlife camera.
Right.
sort of, yeah. And they don't count people that go by.
Yeah. You don't. That's a good idea, though, Commissioner Butcher, to do an event. I wonder how to do it. I'm like, there's a route of an event, right? Like we're gonna take people on a specific hike.
I wonder if we could just do it as like show up and get people to kind of show us their favorite locations so we understand where they're going. So we aren't leading it necessarily, we're convening it.
Okay.
Yeah, like have an idea in mind where we could take people if nobody volunteers to be like, let's go this way. But then, if people do want to walk in a particular direction, just kind of follow them.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
Okay. Yeah. Almost like a bee parcel open house.
Yeah. Yep.
Open woods.
All right, so I think we've got a couple next steps.
Yep.
In terms of talking to Natural Heritage, are we still doing this informally now? Or
No, we're not getting anywhere with them. We've been
Yeah.
trying for 6 months, 8 months.
So
a
the
year.
idea,
Since January.
Yeah.
11 months.
so the idea is to eventually come up with this, you know, the mapping that we want and then present that formally.
Submit it as a
Yeah,
formal request that they're
They have to
required
respond.
to respond to.
And
Yeah.
it's not a terribly complicated application. And the city will take care of that. My office will take care of that. It's just an application. And I believe it will be, it'll be a high fee because
Yeah.
it's a long linear project.
I guess what I was gonna say too is that could we somehow get some standard trail building details that would be used together to go along with that?
Yeah.
I think the mini, like the details of what a mini excavator
Oh,
build
yeah.
will look like.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, yep, like how wide's the trail, what's it shaped like,
Yeah.
everything, turns. If you have extra soil in one spot, what to do with it, you know, like,
Yeah, we can make a detailed trail description. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so the next steps I see for NEMBA, include what Commissioner Butcher just asked for. So like the specs of the trail building, and then, a map that includes the proposed climbing trail and then the proposed descending trails that you would like to keep or modify in the future.
Right.
So that they don't cross while
Yeah.
staying on city. But I think I want to point out that I think some of these trails we're going to have fragments,
Mhm.
and we're just going to proceed with that. Like the climbing trail will show as a complete.
Yep.
Because that would be the commission's next step. But the descending trails to keep, they'll just be fragments, the fragments that are on city land.
Yeah, I mean, for the purpose of showing what's existing, I think we may want to fill in the gaps with another line type or something.
I think we can't submit to natural heritage there's a lot about, you can't
Okay.
submit a request for land that you do not have permission to submit a request for.
Right, it goes over private.
Okay. Then yeah, I guess they'll be fragments.
But we're not submitting to do work on the land. We're just showing there's an existing trail and a dotted line that cuts across private land. But we're not doing any work on it. So it's not part of our proposal. It's just information.
I mean, are we just saying those are trails we're gonna abandon or this private land ones or?
Those may be some of the walking trails
you
that
know?
people use a lot though, like the one up top.
Well, at some point you just have to tell people too bad, we're going this other way now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that remains to be seen how we deal with that. But I think first we should be looking at the whole network to figure out what we cut out and can discontinue. And maybe that includes some that cross over.
Okay.
If we're discontinuing things that lead onto private property, and I think it would be helpful if we're able to show, like, we're gonna block this on city property so that it's not a thing anymore.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
There's some thinking about that to be done.
Okay, so from New England Mountain Bike Association, we'll get a revised trail map of the trails that you'd like to keep.
Yeah.
That I can overlay onto this. And then I will reach out to the hikers to do like a B parcel open woods event. And it'd probably be great to have at least a member of the commission there. We'll keep you appraised as I figure out some details on that. We'll post that. I'll document this gully location just to get some images of that. Something I also think we can keep in our back pocket too, I haven't said this yet, is we could always either propose or in the second round of proposals, like in discussions with natural heritage, we could propose some habitat creation too. Yeah, so that could ultimately be part of this in a section of the parcel we're far from right.
Yeah, habitat enhancement.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, good. Sounds great.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both for coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Any updates on our sign?
Yes, updates on our sign. All right, we've got all signs together. We get to pick our font. Get to see it all come together. One option.
It changed? We did.
And then the order is the other question. Do we want the font in yellow?
Oh, is there any way to make it a little bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the letter on the main sign and the lettering on the name sign should match myself, at least,
Feel that match.
You mean
Yeah.
the font or the color or?
at least the font. I guess I'm a little more agnostic on the color situation.
Man, those trees are really bright green.
It's spring.
This is our pilot sign. I just want to say, we can go back.
We do Comic Sans. I'm just kidding.
No.
Well, it won't be on a white background, right?
It will not be on a white background. It will just be a sign in the woods.
Can you
Yeah.
show the yellow again?
Like the yellow.
What is the green, yellow color accessibility?
Ooh, for colorblind folks. That is.
I don't know the answer. It definitely is less contrast in this than with the white. So that's something we should check on.
Okay.
And I guess the yellow and brown too. We should run a double check on that.
I can double check on that.
But otherwise, I have no. Anybody feel strongly, yellow or white?
No.
I like the yellow. I like the yellow.
I think it will. I said, oh god, I said I was gonna like the white.
Go back, please.
I like the white.
Because
Just like
the little figures are white,
The
you
other
know,
one
like it just,
Other text.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
figures are white.
yeah.
I think if it wasn't on such a white background.
I think either
I'd like
one.
it better.
Yeah,
I would go with higher accessibility if
Yeah.
that is.
higher
factor.
contrast. Okay.
Federal Highway Administration is okay with white on green, so.
Yeah, that's
you know.
true. So we wanna do
It
it
already
like that.
is.
So does any of that have fluorescent?
No.
You know, the colors fluorescent. You know what I mean?
Think
Like,
so.
what do you ask? What's the question? Are the colors like green or the yellow? Are they
Fluorescent
fluorescent?
green.
Are they supposed to, are you saying, are they, or are
Like
they?
reflective?
Yeah, like if you're looking at it, yeah, like bright, reflective,
They would not be reflective.
so everything is flat.
They'll be routed. It'll be like carved in.
Oh, okay. But they'll be green still.
They will be green.
By the way, this is probably too graphic, but I found
Oh.
this when I was walking around. Anyway, we were talking about the new pick up your.
Yeah,
feet.
yeah, yeah.
There's a little poop coming out of it, but
Too much information.
I think it looks great.
Okay, all right. So I will, we'll go white all caps.
Well, you're gonna go with whatever the accessibility.
Okay,
says.
the accessibility. Okay, great. But all caps we like.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
I think
just
that
had
makes
one
sense.
stupid question that like woke up in the middle of the night. Like, did we check the sign ordinance?
No.
Well,
There's a sign ordinance. Doesn't the sign ordinance apply to like yard signs?
Advertising or, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think it applies
Did we
to
check it?
city
No.
signs.
I don't know anything about it, thus, I think we should probably check it.
Can we do that behind the scenes?
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
it's gonna be a thing.
Great,
Yeah.
I will check.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just had a question. So we have no motorized, we have bicycles. Does the area have e-bikes?
That's it. It's a question for the city council to decide whether or not, and they'll decide either if the commission gets to decide if e-bikes are allowed, or they could also say, this is what we just figured out last time we discussed e-bikes. They could also say that any parcel where bikes are allowed, e-bikes are allowed, but they have not acted on it as far as I know.
Put a little lightning bolt on there.
But it wouldn't be a separate, it wouldn't be a separate graphic anyways, I don't think.
I don't know how we visually.
Yeah, it'd be hard to.
You just put a lightning bolt with the bicycle.
All right, excellent. Okay, I'll figure out the accessibility piece. I'll check on the sign ordinance, and then I will send this to get carved.
Awesome.
Great.
Nice.
Nice job.
All right. Compliance updates. What do we have?
Okay. Compliance updates. The first one I have is the Lathrop community of Easthampton. They have been conducting their invasive species removal, and they are hosting an event to talk about it, and they wanted the commission to be invited.
Okay.
It is this Saturday.
Saturday, right?
Yep, at 2 p.m. Yep. Commissioner Ryan knows because the CPA has funded it. And so they are hosting an event about that their invasive species specialist is gonna come and present about his project. Great, and how they've done it. Great. Okay, and the commission, of course, is invited.
You said that 1 or 2.
It is at 2. It is at 2. Yes, it's at 2 at Lathrop. I think it'll be a really sweet event.
I bet. They do a nice job. All right.
All right. The next one I have an update for is F 6973 Loudville. So if commissioners recall the massive rain we got on Halloween, right? Right before Halloween.
Well, yeah, it was almost 3 inches.
It was almost
Yeah,
3
right.
inches.
Almost 3 inches.
On November 3rd. So about 80 hours after that massive rainstorm, I went out to the basin at 6973 Loudville.
It was dry.
And it was dry.
That's astonishing.
Hurry up and bring the certificate.
Yeah, it was dry. So I guess 3rd time's the charm.
And this
for
is the
redesigning
revised
your basin.
version.
This is the revised
And we
version.
have grass on slopes. Is the rock gone?
We have grass on slopes. Rock is gone. Grass is
Okay.
grown in.
Okay.
They had to redo the slopes because
Yeah.
they seeded it right before a big rain, and then they all sloped in. But they redid it, and they did it just in time. The grass had a chance to grow in, and it looked good. I mean, this was 80 hours after the rain ended. There's a little bit of water in there.
Yeah.
That's nothing, and otherwise it's dry.
Wow.
Okay.
This is their other little basin on the side. I just want to on that too. So Commissioner Buttrick's question about the slopes on the site and the as-built remains. We have not yet received an as-built for the site. They haven't told me they're requesting a certificate of compliance, but just thought I would let you all know because we've been keeping our eyes on this.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
Don't go and look at it again.
I was gonna say, if we get another big event, please go look at it again. That's to confirm. So, thank you. Great.
Are we still technically in drought?
we are still in jail. Yeah. Okay. The next update I have. Okay, 65 Love Field. We are in the time of year when all of our annual monitoring
Which item are
reports.
we?
Yeah, I can't find that.
Oh,
It's K.
is it K?
Got it.
Yes, it's
Thank you.
K, thanks.
Oh, no, sorry. Let's jump up to G first.
Chickawee?
Yep, Chickaween. Yep. Chickaween's wetland replication area at 108 Oliver Street. He asked Bucky Sparkle, the engineer, to do his wetland replication review. He has to have 2 years of monitoring reports. And Bucky's review was good. Mostly. I'll remind the commission that this is a little bit funky it's like it was a wet farm field that he was replicating as the surrounding conditions. So I think there was some discussion with Cassie about being a little bit more lenient about coverage.
This is the one where he mowed it.
Yeah, last year he mowed it.
Did we have a requirement for a wetland scientist to do those reports and assessments? Because that is not Bucky's specialty. And previously this was,
Qualified wetland scientist.
so unless Bucky has a qualification we don't know about, I'm not sure how this meets that.
Okay. And ask him for any qualifications.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to be identifying grasses, so that's not your typical civil engineer, but maybe he does have a credential that we don't know about.
Right.
We need to check on that.
Okay. Do you mind if I see really quickly if I know I have his credentials somewhere in here.
I'd be surprised if you wouldn't speak up. Given that it says right there that they weren't a qualified wetland scientist.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Has he done 120 East Street, that restoration site? I know that predates my time with you all.
Mhm.
I thought he did the wetland delineation for that project. I was just thinking about a project that
I think so.
No requirement. The Dodge residence.
Yeah.
He worked on Bowville on that steep bank.
Yeah, he's definitely worked on restoration projects, but from the engineering side, I'm not aware of him serving as the wetlands person.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll reach out to him and ask him to share any qualifications that he has. Thank you. Now we're on to K, 65 Lovefield. This is a riverfront mitigation area. This is year 2 of 3, and this is about ensuring that the area has native plant growth and not invasive growth in this area. This was done by Patrick Lord over at GCA.
Anything to note?
Nothing to know. Nope, it looked positive. Okay. That looks good. No, not need. And his plantings are doing well. Finally sold it. Oh, I didn't know that. That's good to hear.
Yep.
Okay. The next one I have an update for is Allen Street. We did the post-construction site visit. Their basin is functioning. I think I gave that update to the commission last time. And the site looks good. There's a couple bare areas that we noted that we'd like that to see grown in before we fully issue the certificate of compliance. Yep. There's Diane Rossini Smith, the city engineer. Her request here was that they stopped this is at the outfall, Brickyard Brook, and that they stopped the riprap right here on the end of the silt fence. And she requested a little bit more riprap going down to the surface. So there's not.
If they take that out, it's gonna drop off sharp.
So I believe they're doing that to add a little bit of a step of the riprap so the water flows. Okay. And then we have the as-built. Did we see the as-built last time? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing of note in this. Great. It all was connected. Oh, it was all constructed in accordance with plan. Good. So I expect that we'll receive the request for a certificate of compliance next meeting. And hopefully we'll have a sense of the riprap. The riprap will be installed.
We need to see more growth though, which
Yes.
we're not likely to see this season.
This meeting was
It
from,
was a few
it was a few weeks
so
ago,
Okay.
so hopefully there's a little
So
more.
maybe.
If
Yeah.
that Loudville grew in that fast, this may have
Mhm.
done also.
This probably was more of a native mix though, so it may not have sprouted
Okay.
this time of year. Right. We may have to wait till spring for that.
So for it to grow in.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Are the Nashwatic Pond retaining wall construction fully made it? Their CPA request made it through city council, so it's fully funded. Great. Plans to be built in the spring. Keep you updated as that construction starts in the spring.
Okay.
And X, the RDA updates on Hilltown. I'll take it off after this. I just wanted to say that the playground has been installed.
Great.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, cool.
And plenty of signs.
In accordance with the plan. Yep, and their signs turned out
Nice.
really
nice.
great. And
Yeah,
the,
those are awesome.
and the kids did the drawings.
Very cool.
Makes me wonder if we should always have the children do the
Yeah,
Next
those
time.
are way more fun than the little like pink markers or whatever. Nice.
A place to wonder, not wander. Wetlands are full of life. Let's look, not step.
They're good.
They're really quite good.
Yeah.
So, that project's complete. I'll take it off our agenda. I don't think we have anything more to follow up on it.
Great. Okay.
These were third graders. They were digitized by the art teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So traced and digitized. They're good though. Like,
Yeah. They're very nice. Moving on to general business. We have meeting minutes from October 20th. Anybody have comments on those that were not already incorporated?
It looked good to me.
They look good.
I bet it was a very comfortable table.
Get a motion to accept.
I move that we accept the minutes of October 20th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. On the wetlands ordinance, you all should have received a copy from Ava to review and comment on individually, so that we're not having that discussion outside of a meeting.
Sure.
And then once we've had a chance to incorporate edits and feel like we have a nice polished version that
It looked pretty polished.
we tried. The
Yeah,
the
really.
subcommittee or working group really made that effort.
Yeah, the group did a really good
Over
job.
the course of a long time. So we're hoping there won't be too many issues, but we wanted to get individual feedback and revisit anything that we might need to revisit before sending that out more broadly.
Also happy to talk about it. Commissioner Carr and I had a great conversation today about it after I received her edit. So I'm also happy to talk about it with any of you, answer questions, like do clarifications, point out where it's different from the Wetlands Protection Act view. Because I do really see us all needing to be really strong advocates of it moving forward. So being really like well versed in it will be a key next part of the process. Great, yeah. And Commissioner Laura asked for a deadline, so I said 3 weeks from last week, so November 25th, for edits. Yeah, great. If commissioners are able to meet that, that sounds good.
We have the Thanksgiving weekend.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I got it. This was, I know, Commissioner Carr was on it. Great. Okay, so that's actually December 1st.
Okay. Wero mystery meeting report back. The Western Region DEP mystery meeting that we couldn't really get an agenda for or understand what it was about.
Right.
I'm dying to know what it was about.
Commissioner Weeks, what was it about?
Nobody knows.
I really did not feel it was a good use of time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were
I'm
looking
sorry
for
to hear
some.
that.
Yeah, they were looking for some guidance on what kinds of trainings commissions are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It was more geared towards commissions, smaller commissions that don't have an agent. Honestly, it got me a little bit concerned for some commissions in our region, just that they're really under-supported. It's hard to be a small town.
Yeah.
And I'll underscore that my one thought coming out of this is I'm very grateful that we work with somebody like Ava or previously Cassie, because without them, we'd really be up a creek.
Oh. I would not be serving in this role without someone in this role. So thank you, Ava. Thank you, City of Easthampton, for letting us have an agent. Totally. Yeah, it makes a massive difference. Our former chairs could certainly speak to that.
Remarkable that this commission functioned for as long as it did without an agent too.
Yeah.
Until 2013. Yeah. There was definitely ask about the regulatory changes that are coming down the pike, asks about mass leads, the solar permitting, clean energy permitting changes, and the DEP representatives were really like, it's not a mass DEP regulatory process. Like, we'll get it when you get it. And the Mass Ready Act, they also said they're like, we're keeping our eyes on it. We don't have any updates on regulations. Okay. So not a lot of satisfactory updates on those.
Okay. Not surprising, I suppose, but good to know.
How were you gonna make the announcement about that?
The floodplain, yeah. Did I put that on your agenda?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so shockingly, excitingly, we have new FEMA floodplain maps. They are preliminary. I'm gonna pull them up.
Which I think means they won't become real for another like 10 to 15 years.
It's many years, but they're really interesting. One of the interesting things that I've learned about these new maps is that they are regulatable under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Yeah, we could point to them.
Exactly. So they are now the best available data. My understanding is that that the commission is expected to utilize these as the new boundaries for bordering land subject to flooding under the act, and that Mass DP will use them as well.
Yeah.
So that was new information to me.
Do you happen to have a comparative view that we can see what changed?
I don't on here because our floodplain maps were never fully digitalized for Hampshire County. But I'll just maybe point out a couple things as we zoom around town. A couple things is that a lot of reaches of town that never had floodplain now have floodplain. So for example, White Brook has a floodplain now.
Okay.
Which is, I think, interesting, particularly now that we have a better sense of its intermittent status through here. But it has a relatively kind of spilling floodplain. It starts right here. The orange is the 500-year floodplain, not jurisdictional under the commission. The blue is our 100-year floodplain.
Wait, where's mine?
It's just a tiny fringe.
Keep us here.
Not much of it.
So just to orient folks, this is the Plain and Strong Street playground.
Okay.
This is Plain and Strong right here. White Brook, as it sweeps up here, this is Tomachowski's parcel. This property, I happen to know from DPW, is constantly flooding. So that
this is more accurate.
yeah, it's giving us a more accurate sense. This is something to note. This was not a floodplain before. This is our parcel. This is the Crown Meadow Estates ANRAD. So we'll just have to keep this in our mind that we set a wetland boundary for this. That does not include this bordering land subject to flooding, so we can't regulate under it if they move forward.
Okay.
There's the tributary of White Brook that has a big floodplain through here.
We can't regulate it under it. It would be helpful to know for the future
how
these maps relate to our stormwater ordinance, because that there may be places where it comes into play as two separate, where we need to use two different maps. Okay, I don't know if that would happen or not, but that'd be a good thing to know before it comes up.
I know
Because we do have a few properties with ANRADs that'll be locked in place, but if they come for developments, there'll be the stormwater question separately.
Yeah. Okay. I know that like the floodplain ordinance, which our floodplain administrator is responsible for, will not use these preliminary maps until they're fully accepted. Okay. In probably 3 years. So, okay. But something actually it's an important thing to note for the commission too, is that if you now have a link to this in your ongoing project updates file, and we are still in the stage where FEMA is accepting comment. If there's a place that you think is really off, this is the time that we should get those comments in. We still have a little wait of months to do that, but that's something that the city's certainly looking at and paying attention to. Great. Broad Brook now has flood elevations, so that whole section of White Brook doesn't have flood elevations. That's a thing about FEMA maps. Some chunks of them have flood elevations, some of them don't. Broad Brook does now. Broad Brook didn't before. These black lines give us the flood elevations. Terms of new properties in floodplain, particularly new structures in floodplain, there's the White Brook ones that previously just had a stream on them, what USGS considers a perennial stream. There's a couple structures in here. Maybe only that one that's fully, real close. And then the other notable ones that we noticed. Hopefully not our schools. Good. Yep, school's looking good. Our building right here, 50 Payson, is in the floodplain.
That doesn't seem fully accurate.
So their projection is that Rubber Thread would flood. Rubber Thread would overtop its banks. And this is, I think, also the most notable new structures on our street right over here.
Yeah, so like FEMA would probably not have access to information on the culvert connecting those two ponds,
Right,
because
right.
it's like very well underwater and arch shaped, So I don't know how much detail they look into things when they do these models, but my guess is that maybe they're not paying any attention to it at all and just saying, well, water must go over the road here to get out, So
I've never heard of this flooding ever.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they don't have the water. No, I mean, I guess they have it over here. They don't, because the culvert's here, right?
Yeah. So the water's going over the low spot.
Yeah, so they're thinking it's going off the road, not through the culvert.
Right.
I don't think that, yeah.
So I would
Doesn't feel
definitely
accurate.
comment on that, just be like, there's a 15-foot arch culvert underneath,
Mhm.
whatever the name, what's the name of the road, I forget.
That's the-
Lake Ave.
Uh,
Oh,
No,
no,
I think it's
sorry,
something
this
else.
one right
Williston.
here.
Williston.
Williston.
yeah, yep. I don't know if it's actually 15 feet, but it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it just,
so we think
This
this is a misrepresentation of the culvert.
yeah, I think so.
did he have the same condition where the rail trail is to the left?
Maybe,
That area get flooded because it's flooding the fields and.
might be all just backwater in from
That's
the
right,
own culvert
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Culvert, yeah.
That seems kind of bogus to me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
Is there, has the flood and insurance study out yet? With
That's
the-
what I was.
Because it would say, it would show on
Yeah.
there what
Yeah,
they had for
yep,
structure.
right, I can follow up with that. It is out. Yep,
Okay.
the draft FIS is out as well. The Manhands floodplain looks relatively similar as far as I could see
That makes sense.
to what it did before. I don't know if, I think Hannah maybe didn't have a floodplain before and it does now.
What about Brickyard? Did it get one?
Yes, portions of Brickyard did. Let's take a look. Yeah, it did have a flood, didn't have a map of floodplain before yet. Thank you. Yep, here's Brickyard.
Where are we?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I believe, yeah, this is Clark, yeah. Is that right?
Can you zoom in below Clark a bit?
Right here.
That's all orange. That makes sense. Okay.
I didn't notice any new structures in here.
Yeah, that's all quite a low gully.
Yeah.
Like in Western Mass and go a dingle.
The only other project that we noted is now also in floodplain is these Ferry Street apartments.
Wait, where are those apartments?
That's the one Ferry
The new
Street.
ones?
Mhm. So
Is that taking?
I think they're showing the canal overtopping.
I think we do that. Didn't we know that was
Is that
those
why it's
parking
all
lots
built
were
up
gonna get
with
flooded
the?
out?
Yeah, that might be.
Yeah.
That might be why it's all
I think we kind of.
parking underneath.
But we might not, but
Yeah.
I feel like I remember thinking about that.
Yeah,
It was not in floodplain before, but perhaps there was.
they would have had to model
Model
it
it,
though, right?
yeah, right.
I think maybe not. I don't know.
So,
It's already permanent for the commission.
Yeah.
We're not gonna retroactively permanent.
Yeah.
Cities might be chance aware of these preliminary maps.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we'll use, yeah,
Come on. Good.
so we'll use these maps moving forward as we assess bordering lines of the flooding and I'll inform applicants as it becomes relevant that these are the maps they should refer to.
Great. All right, looks like our last item is 2026 meeting dates.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun on this. It's only November. But we don't have to decide on them now, but I gave you guys a spreadsheet of 2026 meeting dates. They work out pretty nicely. We run into the same thing we ran into this year, which is where We have Memorial Day as the fourth Monday of May, and we have Indigenous Peoples' Day as the second Monday of October, which makes it obvious to have those meetings as those months as one meeting month. I looked to see if there was a way to reconfigure it, but we start to get it's hard to configure it so we don't have 1 week between meetings, which I think we're really committed not to do.
Yeah.
There's a couple spots in here where we have 3 weeks between meetings, like between line 8 and 9, but that's just because of there's 5 months in March, and then we have another 3 weeks between April 27th and May 18th. Okay.
And there's a 3-week gap in November, and I had a thought when I looked at your spreadsheet. The last meeting is the Monday after Christmas. We've got 3 weeks between the November 21 and the December 14th meeting. If we could change that to December 7th, change the 28th to December 21st, we avoid that meeting right after Christmas. Because Christmas is on Friday, I think. That's on Monday. And I imagine that would probably be likely to conflict with a lot of plans.
So that would involve us meeting on the 1st and 3rd
Right.
Mondays.
But it would it would still be a 2-week gap from the previous meeting. So that's at least maintained.
And then there would be a 3-week gap between the 21st and the 11th.
Yes.
Kind of a quiet time.
Quiet time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm banking on.
Yeah, our other option would be to stick with the 14th and just not have the
Not have a
28th, have a 1 meeting month.
That would work for me
Which
too.
might also work.
Right. Should be December, yeah,
Yeah.
I think either one is probably fine.
Commissioners have a preference?
Let's have a 1 meeting December.
Yeah, we'd say that'd be a preference.
Is there any, I mean, it'd be, maybe it's too broad of a question to ask you all now, but I'm like, is there any of these meetings that it's like, or you can immediately raise your hand and be like, cannot be here?
I can't get a flight
I don't know.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't get a flight anywhere right now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
August 10th.
Sounds good.
All right, fabulous. Okay, that's all I have for you.
Nice.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
All those in favor?
Hi.
Motion carried. It is 7:43. We are concluding the November 10th meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. Our next meeting will be November 24th at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.